Hi, welcome to Rems. If you are a beginner and wants to feel comfortable with the Excel application, this video is for you. I will introduce you to Excel and how the spreadsheet is set up and how you can input values. First, open Excel from the Start menu. Here, I will just go ahead and click on the blank workbook. An Excel file is called a workbook. This workbook isn't saved until you save it. To do so, click on the File tab and click on Save As because this is your first time. Select the location to save the file and click on Save. You can also use the shortcut Ctrl and S to do the same. As you continue working on it and want to save, just go here on the Quick Access toolbar and click on Save button, or use the same shortcut keys Ctrl S. A workbook consists of at least one sheet. You can click on the plus here to add more sheets. You can rename the sheet by double-clicking on it or right-click and select Rename. A sheet contains many cells. Each box is a single cell. The intersection of a column and a row is a cell. Every cell has an address. For example, the address of this cell is C5, which means column C, row 5. You can input numbers or text here. Just start typing and then press enter. If you want to replace this text, just click on the cell and start typing. You don't have to double click unless you want to add another text to the previous text in the cell. Up here, we have the formula bar. When I input text here, you can see it in the formula bar. If I move to the cell below, there is nothing there. Now, instead of text, I can have a formula, and every formula and function must start with an equal sign. So if I type in an equal sign, then click on the cell C5 and press enter, notice the formula bar has the formula and not the text. On the left side is the name box. It shows the address of the active cell. So if I click here, it's E4. Now, here is a useful tip. I can use this to jump to a specific cell. I'll just type in the cell address, press enter, and jump to that cell. For example, cell B80, and I'll jump to that cell. Now, to jump back to the first cell, you use the shortcut key Ctrl Home. Excel sheet has 1,048,576 rows and 16,384 columns. To jump to the last column of the sheet, you use the shortcut key Ctrl and down arrow key. And to jump to the last row, you use Ctrl and right arrow key. Now, do you remember the keys to go back to the first cell? That's Ctrl Home. You can also insert rows and columns in between. To insert a row, just right click on the row above which you want to insert the row. And from the options, click on Insert. To insert a column too, right click on the column and click on Insert. On the other hand, you can also delete a row and a column with the same procedures. Right click on the row you want to delete and click on Delete. Same thing applies to a column. You right click on the column you want to delete and click on Delete. Another term used in Excel is range. A range is a group of cells. For example, if I want to highlight this range, I just click on the first cell and drag. You can also use the keyboard, click on the first cell and then hold down on the shift key and click on the last cell and your range is selected. Now, to reference a range, you use the address of the first cell, type column, then type the address of the last cell. So this will be C5 colon D7. This is mostly used in formulas and functions. So when you see a syntax like this, it is referencing a range of cells. In Excel, we have the selection handle for selecting a cell or cells. We have the move handle. You will see it when I select a range and I move to the border. That's the move icon. With this, you can click and drag the content of those cells to another place, like this, to anywhere you want. And we have the fill handle. If I go to the corner of the cell like this, I get the fill handle. When I drag that, I fill the cells below with the content of the cells above. If I drag a formula, is the formula that gets copied down. We will see that shortly. Now, cells have their default sizes, but you can change them. So for example, if I input text that's too long, like this, it's going to go over to the next cell. So it looks like the content of this are in these cells, but it's not. It's only sitting in these cells. When I go to that cell, you can see that from the formula bar, there is nothing in that cell. To expand the column, you move your mouse over here and drag, or you double click to expand to fit the contents of the cell. When you want to expand it vertically with your column being wide, if you pull down the row, this is not going to wrap inside the cell. There is a feature for this over here called the wrap text. It helps you to wrap the text. If you see that the whole text is not fitting here, just double click on the row to make it expand to fit. Now, let me take you through Excel's ribbon. There are different tabs with different commands under each of them. We have the Home tab, under which you have commands for formatting like alignment and AutoSum, which we'll be looking at later, sort and filter data, and so on. When you go to the Insert tab, you can insert tables, pictures, charts, equations, symbols, and more. If you hover over a command, you get more information about it and also the shortcut key you can use for it. You should take your time and go through the tabs and the commands under them. The File tab, or sometimes called Backstage View, is different from others. Here you can see information about your file, open a new file, save a file, print it out, or check which version of Excel you are using by clicking on Account. To go back to normal view, you can either click the arrow here or press the Escape key. Now, let's work on some more detailed data. So, I'm going to input profits made by each branch of a company over 6 months, from January to June. I will type January here and press the tab to move to the next cell. By default, if you press enter, you go to the cell below. You press Ctrl plus enter to stay on the same cell. Now, if I go to the next cell, I can type February as Feb and March and so on. But Excel has this handle. So if you type Jane, it recognizes that this is a month. Now, when I drag this to the side with the fill handle, you see I have February, March to June filled. If I continue, it will fill to December. Now, on this side, I will type the branch names. Now let me input their profits for each month. Let me zoom in for you to see. To bolden the months, select them and click on bold here. Now, let's get the profit made by each branch. After the last month, we will type total. For the first branch, we will select the range of cells we want to sum up. Then, go to the Home tab. In the editing group here, click on AutoSum. The sum of all the values will be inserted in the cell next after the selected range. We now use the fill handle to copy the formula down to other branches. We have the sum of their profits over the 6 months. Now let's give a title. So select the cells above. On the Home tab, in the alignment group, click on Merge and Center. Now I will type the title as 6 months profit and press Ctrl and Enter to stay on the cell. Click on Bold to bolden it. Increase the font size here. Let's give it a fill color of yellow. To do that, click on the Fill button to fill it with a color. You can change the color by clicking on the arrow beside the Fill button and select your preferred color. Now, if we want to know the profit made for each month, we do the same thing. That will be at the bottom. You type total here, click on it and bolden it. Then, for the first month, Select all the cells under it, go to the ribbon and click on AutoSum. The summation is inserted in the next cell. We now copy with the fill handle across the months and I'll click on bold. Finally, let's give borders to the data. To do that, you go up here, click on the border drop down and click on all borders. And that's it. This wraps up our introduction to Excel. Thank you for watching and I hope you learned from this tutorial. If you did, hit that thumbs up and do subscribe to this channel in case you haven't subscribed already. See you in the next video.